Today we are talking about DTF transfers and printing. We're going to figure out what that is, how it works, and how you can get started with it. Hey, welcome to the Creative Ramblings podcast. I'm Sarah, your host, and Happy New Year. This is our first show back after the new year, and I have such a good lineup to talk with you about this month. So if you are new here on the Creative Ramblings podcast, we talk about all kinds of crafting and DIY topics to help you move forward in your creative journey. Whatever that journey might be, wherever you're headed and wherever you're starting, hopefully you can take away some really good in-depth information here that can help you. Today's topic is DTF transfers and printing. We are going to go in depth in this, but we're going to start, of course, very basic so that you can walk away from this episode really having a good understanding of what DTF is and how you can use it. Before we dive into that, let's talk about deals for the first week of January. If you want to skip this deals part, just move over on to the next chapter and we'll get into DTF printing. So it is the first week of January. A lot of companies ran really good holiday sales from Black Friday all the way through December. So we see a little bit of a lull in sales coming into January. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop shopping. You can if you want. But if you are looking for something, my first thought is to always look at clearance deals, whether you're in store or online. If you're looking for something really specific, see if it's on clearance first. You might surprise yourself. There's a few companies that are running some really good deals. Cricut has 50% off all materials and accessories. We've seen this going on for quite some time. Like this started back around Black Friday, maybe even sooner, and it's been incredible. You can get rolls of vinyl for just a couple of dollars. So if you got a machine over the holidays and you need some more materials, now is a great time to stock up with Cricut. They also have a good deal on their Joy Extra bundle right now. The Extra is a great way to get into Cricut. It's a small kind of compact machine, does everything. That bundle is just $159. The other thing that Cricut is doing today, I keep double checking it because it's like too good to be true. Their auto press, which is their big heat press that fits, big t-shirts, tote bags, all that kind of stuff that automatically presses and then comes back up. Normally it's about $9.99. It's on sale for $299 right now, $299. That is dirt cheap. You can find it at Cricut. You can find it, I found it at Michael's for $299 and on Amazon as well. So wherever your preferred retailer is, if you have been eyeing up that auto press and you think it's right for you, grab it now. This is a phenomenal deal. In December, I introduced you to a new craft machine by Lockleek called the iCraft. It is a smart cutting machine for all kinds of paper and cardstock and vinyl and fabric and all other things. That was in pre-sale in December and it's now officially available. If you order it, it's going to ship right away. This is a pretty cool craft machine. I'll link the video down in the description if you want to learn more about it. You can get that for $199 right now with the discount code that's also down in the description. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is HTV Runt. They make some of my favorite heat presses. They have a manual heat press that I use. It's here in my craft room. Really easy to operate. That is down to $129 right now. So between that and the auto press at $299, I bring those up because we're talking about DTF. And in order to get DTF transfers to work, you kind of need a heat press. So these heat press deals are really good. So if you like learning about deals, every Thursday I send out a crafty newsletter and I always have the most up-to-date deals from my favorite craft brands. So subscribe to that newsletter. You'll get it in your inbox. And I also talk about trending topics, seasonal stuff, new machines that are coming out. Really going to keep you in the know. Today's topic is DTF transfers and DTF printing. We're going to talk about what this is, if you've never heard about it, how it works, and how you can use this. There's a couple different ways you can get started with DTF transfers and DTF printing. So let's start really basic. DTF stands for direct to film. It is a process of printing special ink onto a film, like a clear film. And then after a couple of steps, you're able to transfer that image, whatever you just printed, onto a shirt. The shirt that I'm wearing, that I always wear, this is actually DTF. I made this one myself. You're able to transfer that image over to a shirt. So we know that there's a bunch of ways that you can do that. You can create a shirt like this with HTV, with sublimation, with a stencil, and now with DTF. So we will touch on why this is different. But first, let's really understand what DTF is. My favorite part about this process is when you put the image on the shirt. The fabric can be any type of fabric. It doesn't have to be polyester like it does for sublimation. You can really use any kind of fabric out there. So there's two ways to get into DTF. You can get a DTF printer and get all of the accessories, and you can make your own transfers at home. So you can print directly onto film with this special ink, and then you can press them onto a shirt. Or you can order transfers. So this just happens to be a roll. This was a 10-foot roll, and I've used quite a bit of it. You can order from companies. This one is from Ninja Transfers. I also like ordering these from Pro World, where they have the whole DTF setup at their warehouse. They print your designs, whatever you create or send them, and put them on these big rolls. And this is just a little one that came out of that. So what I'm wearing here came from one of these big rolls. So you can order these transfers, or you can print them on your own. So we're going to talk about how to get these transfers, like the ones that you order from a company. But the first thing I want to do is just explain to you a little bit on how the printing process works. So how are these transfers made? So you have a special printer with water-based ink, and it doesn't print on paper. It prints on to these large rolls, and it's this kind of semi-clear film that's printed. So these printers are a little bit bigger. Once the ink is printed onto this film, you apply a powder to the back of it. And that powder kind of coats the back of your image here. Then this whole transfer is put into an oven to cure, and that powder hardens, and it kind of looks like an orange peel on the outside. And then you can take this transfer, and I can touch it, I could ship it, I could put it on a shirt, I can store it until I'm ready to put it on a shirt. When I'm ready to put it on a shirt, you just put it on a heat press and press it. It doesn't take that much heat or pressure. It's roughly 300 degrees for about 15 seconds. You can use a heat press. You can use a household iron. These transfers are super easy to get onto fabric. So let's go back to this for a second. Let's talk about these big rolls. DTF printing is fairly new. I've known about it for a little over a year. I want to say it's been readily available for just a couple of years. But there are some great companies out there that are used to making custom items, or used to making products to sell to you so you can make custom items. So a company like Pro World, I love all of their sublimation supplies and materials. They have a place on their website where you can create and order rolls of custom DTF transfers. Ninja Transfers is another one. Like I said, that's where this is from. So this is a much easier way to get into DTF before you purchase a printer and everything. So this 10-foot roll here cost me about $100. And what's really cool about these is this is about 24, maybe a little bit less, 22 by 10 feet long. And I am able to get as many graphics on there as I can. So I did a whole bunch of little kind of crafty graphics. I did 2 sets of graphics on there to make t-shirts for my Girl Scout troop. So, good size ones that fit on a shirt. There's 10 Girl Scouts in each, in the troop. So I was able to get 20 graphics on there, plus a ton more. So if you have a graphic that you want to put on a shirt and you want to then sell them, you could get all of your designs right here on this. And then when it comes to you, You cut off the one you want and you can sell it to your customer, or you can press it onto a shirt and then sell it that way. If you are not a small business owner, if you're not looking to sell anything, maybe you're just a regular person, DTF can come in handy. So I have a daughter who is on a basketball team. And let's say that I wanted to make some shirts for her whole team. And I don't have a Cricut, I don't have any of that stuff, but I really want to help make shirts for my daughter's team. I can go to Pro World's website and I can upload their basketball logo. And Pro World has a service where I can get single color sheets, so about this size of the shirt that I'm wearing, one color, for 15 cents. There is about a $30 setup fee just to set up the artwork, but then after that, it's just 15 cents a design. I get them in the mail, and maybe the basketball team's gonna provide the shirts, maybe each girl is gonna provide their shirt, or maybe I go to Michael's and just get a really good deal on shirts. I can go ahead and press them on my own. So DTF transfers that you order are excellent if you make your own art. Like this was some art that I made, and I'm gonna use it to press. But they're also great if you're making shirts for the basketball team or something along those lines. It just gives you a lot of options. So I've linked down in the description both Pro World and Ninja Transfers because I have personal experience with them, and I've really liked the fast shipping and the quality of their work. So that is the first and easiest way to get into DTF transfers. I want to dive a little bit deeper now into how to print these transfers at home. If you are familiar at all with sublimation, and our last episode or a couple episodes ago, we did do a deep dive on sublimation. This is going to follow a lot of those same steps. You're going to need to invest in some equipment and some materials to get started. And it can be kind of a costly upfront investment. Once you have those machines and those supplies purchased, the process is going to be really easy going forward, and you're going to be able to make your own rolls at home without ordering from someone. So let's go over the basics of what you need to have a DTF setup at home. So you need a printer. And these printers, you know, if they're printing a roll like this, you're going to need a printer that's going to print pretty wide. You can actually get smaller than this. So these printers, they would fit on my table in front of me here, but they're not small like your regular inkjet printers. They're good size printers. They don't take paper. They're going to take only this film. And then you're going to need the special ink that's inside of them. It's ink that's meant to be printed onto this special film. DTF printers come with CMYK ink, which are your standard colors, but then they also come with white ink. The white ink is really important. What happens is with a design like this, it's going to print it on the back, it prints it mirrored, it's going to print all my colors, and then it's going to put a layer of white over everything. So if I were to put this on a dark colored shirt, you're still going to see the white. You don't really get that with sublimation. My sublimation printer doesn't have white ink in it, so I can't print white, and most regular printers don't print white. So that's a big step up for these designs. You're able to get a little bit more detail. So you've got your printer. It's going to come with some ink. You may need to buy some replacement ink down the road. Then you're going to need some software. Most printers are going to come with a software for you to use, but it's called ripping software. And in a nutshell, what this does is it takes the image you've designed. So if you designed this image, you really, really like it. When you design an image, it tends to not have white in it because we don't normally print in white. So it takes this image, puts it into the software, and helps you calibrate it so it can print with all the colors on your DTF printer. Most software is also going to allow you to lay out your designs on your film so that you're using as much of that film as possible and you're not leaving big blank spaces or wasting any. So you've got your printer, you've got your software. We've got the ink in the printer. The next thing you're going to need is film. So you're going to need big rolls of film like this. They come in two different types. They come in cold peel and warm peel. And if you're familiar with any kind of crafting, that should sound familiar to you. When we press HTV that we've cut with Cricut, usually that's cold peel. So after you press your image, if it's warm peel, you can peel that backing off right away. If it's cold peel, you have to let your shirt cool before pulling it up. If you don't follow those directions, you're going to ruin your design. Next up, we need powder. This is a very important part of DTF printing. After I've printed my design, I have this layer of white ink on the back. That design alone cannot be pressed to anything. While this is still wet, I am going to put it in a container, or there's special shakers you can get for this, and I'm going to cover it with a special powder, kind of shake off the excess. What that powder does is it actually acts as the glue that's going to hold this design onto the shirt when heat is applied. So we're going to sprinkle some powder over it, make sure everything is coated, and then we need to cure it with heat so that it goes from just looking like a powder to having this kind of orange peel texture. The best way to cure it is to put it in a special oven meant for DTF printing that's going to cure it to the perfect temperature, and you're going to get this great finish. And then from here, you can do whatever you want with these. Let's talk a little bit more about that powder. Similar along the lines to sublimation, when you're heating up the chemicals used in sublimation, there's some fumes, a very distinct smelling fumes that come off. You really want to have your windows open. You want to have really good ventilation. That's even stronger when we're working with DTF. So when you're printing, you're just fine. But then we're putting this powder on here, and this is a really fine powder. And because it's really fine, it's really easy to inhale, and that's not going to be good for you. So when you're doing this DTF process, make sure the room you're working in is very well ventilated. You may want to wear a mask. You may want to wear gloves. You just don't want to be inhaling this kind of powder. Then when we take the transfer and we put it into the oven to cure, you're going to get fumes that come off of that. And if you get a special curing oven for DTF printing, it's actually going to come with a ventilation system that just takes those fumes and takes them out of your room or into a purifier, because we don't want to be breathing those in. So when you're thinking about getting a DTF setup, make sure that you have the space to properly ventilate and that you protect yourself appropriately. So it's always good to use the approved kind of materials that are recommended for your printer. So use the ink that's recommended for your printer, use high quality powder, and there are kind of some hacks or some tricks for curing this powder, but I'm not going to touch on them because it really does release a lot of fumes into the air, and I want you to be safe. And so I'd much rather you get an oven to cure this and appropriately ventilate the fumes, get them out of your room. So then comes the easy part. You have this transfer, and maybe you have an Etsy shop and you're going to ship this out to your customers, or you're going to place it on shirts yourself. All you do is place this directly on a shirt. These transfers can go on any kind of fabric. So they can't go on like a hard-sided tumbler, that's for sublimation, but they can go on fabric. You're going to press it onto your shirt, and it, in a heat press, you could use an iron, but I like using a heat press. It's typically about 300 degrees for 15 seconds. That number is really going to depend on the garment and the film that you're using. So make sure you understand your heat press and the garment that you're using. Once it's pressed, if it's cold peel, wait, then peel off the backing. Then you're going to put a piece of parchment paper over your shirt, press it again for another 10 seconds or so, and these hold up incredibly well. If you've noticed, I wear this shirt all the time. I wear this off camera all the time. I picked this shirt up at, I think, TJ Maxx last year, and it is so, so comfortable, and I love that I was able to put my logo on it, but it's been washed a lot. And this was a distressed logo when I designed it, so there's some little cracks in it. It's meant to look that way. But really, nothing has happened to it. So DTF holds up incredibly well onto shirts, which is really important if you're selling these designs to your customers. You want them to be confident that their designs are going to hold up on their product really, really well. So I think we covered everything about printing, hopefully. So now I want to talk about something really important. We talked about the cost of ordering one of these rolls from Ninja Transfers or Pro World, roughly $100 to get all your designs printed. If you want a DTF printer at home, it's going to be an investment. So a printer alone, smaller sized, I think the most basic printer I can find, it's roughly around $1,700. That's going to fit on this desk right in front of me here. These printers go all the way up to industrial size that are huge and standalone and can just do a ton of work. If you're looking for something in your craft room to print individual sheets or small rolls, you're looking anywhere from $1,700 to $3,000 for the printer with the ink. The best deal, as always, if you are getting started with this, is to look into a bundle. Bundles are going to come with the printer, ink, software, powder. Sometimes they would come with a shaker or an oven to cure it. You're going to get this big bundle with absolutely everything you need to create transfers. Look at Pro World and look at Heat Press Nation. They are excellent at putting together bundles. They also have really good instructional videos and great customer service to help you with the specific machine you're purchasing and how to use it. When you're making an investment like this, you really want to make sure that you're doing it from a reputable company that can help you through the whole process. Okay. I think we covered DTF. I think I gave you a good idea of how these transfers are made. I want to talk for a minute about DTF compared to some other methods for making shirts like this, because there are a lot out there, and I have covered most of them, if not all of them, right here on this channel. You can make a shirt with a stencil and some fabric paint. You can freehand with some markers. You can make a shirt by cutting heat transfer vinyl with your Cricut machine. I could make this shirt right here with my Cricut machine. I would cut out each color of vinyl and individually lay each piece on my heat press and press each one of them down. It works. It absolutely works. Cutting HTV, weeding it, and then pressing each individual layer is very time consuming. And if you are looking at selling your artwork on shirts, the cost of your time to make lots of shirts like that is really, really high. So if we can simplify that process, even better. You can screen print. It's another way to make shirts. If you are making 100 or multiple hundreds of the same shirt over and over again, screen printing is the way to go. I have a couple screen printers that I really like. One, you can kind of print an image and create your own screen. I have another one that you can make a screen with a laser. They are excellent if you're going to repeat that process over and over again and just make the same shirt and sell the shirts. If you are looking to make designs and sell the designs to your customer so they can press these, sublimation is a great way to go, as is DTF. Sublimation is the other way to make shirts. There's just some limitations on that. You can only have polyester or high polyester count shirts. So you want something with at least 65% polyester, if not more, and then you can press your sublimation design onto those. If you sell a sublimation design to a customer, they really do need a heat press to press it. It's not easily done with a household iron. So DTF, if we are just talking about the quality of prints and what you can do, I think this is hands down my favorite way to make shirts. It allows you to create really, really detailed art, print it out with white ink, and then put it on absolutely any kind of fabric and have a design that holds up really, really well. There is an investment cost into it, but the end result just makes for some great shirts and some great designs and allows you to sell your art. So I decided to do this DTF printing episode today because I know that in 2025, I'm going to be creating a lot more DTF content for a couple of reasons. This process has been around for a couple of years, and as it gets bigger and more people know about it, companies are starting to make this more accessible to you and me, which means we may see some of those prices come down. We may just see smaller or easier to use versions of machines that are great for a craft room. So I want to keep an eye on this in 2025 and just see what's out there and then share it with you. So not only, right now I have videos on these transfers. I have quite a few of those you could take a look at, but I am going to be doing more in-depth look at actual DTF printing and the whole process on that. So if you are interested in learning more about DTF printing, definitely hit that subscribe button because the content is coming and I'm really excited to share it with you. We talked about deals at the beginning of this episode, and I have that crafty newsletter that goes out every Thursday with lots of deals in it. And I also share new products and topics that I'm talking about right here on YouTube. So subscribe to that if you are interested. This podcast goes live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. If you would like to be a guest and chat with me about a crafty topic, there is a form down in the description. Or if you have any ideas for what you want to talk about in the coming weeks, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.